what's up everybody, it is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and you may have noticed we are playing MXGP, the official motocross video game, on the PC today. And as you can see on the screen in front of me, we have a Kawasaki KRT racing bike that's actually, of course, 2 years old now because this game came out on the PC 2 years ago, but it's got the number 207 on it. Why does it have the number 207 on it? Well, today we will be talking about the official retirement that came out this morning of none other than Ryan Villopoto. And if you know a little history of Ryan Villopoto, the number that he started his career on in 2005 was 207. He grew up racing with the 615 in amateurs, raced 207 for 3 rounds in 05. I think he earned 51 or something along those lines for 2006. And then after that, the rest is history. Started winning championships, earned the number 2, then ran the 2, and yeah. So we're going to talk about that today. So I'm just going to do like a time attack on Kigums in Latvia. And doing Kigums because, well, the MXGP Tour is going to be there this weekend. So that's kind of going to be cool. And we want to, of course, talk about that in association with Villopoto retiring, since he will no longer be racing MXGP or anything for that matter. But, of course, he was in the MXGP class, and he did something like that where he looped out, hurt himself. Anyway, first off, just want to say the channel kind of has been a little bit low-key the last couple weeks. I know we had the Redbud National. We did a live stream of that. But then things kind of died down for a sec. Sorry for the lag just there. But things died down for a little bit. Basically what had happened is I was just finishing up a summer school class that I had, and wasn't too demanding, but for some reason I've just been really fatigued lately and didn't do much. So Jeremy was still posting his usual stuff for the most part. He had a couple things come up himself, but we're gonna be back to full-time video stuff pretty much from here on out, I think. I don't see any reason why we won't. Obviously this one's coming out today. I'll have a track walk coming out tomorrow. Yeah, so that's the channel update. But on to Ryan Villopoto, and one hell of a career it was that Villopoto had. Spanned from turned pro at Broome Tioga in 2005 in the 250, well then 125, but became the MX Lights class and then the 250 class eventually. But yeah, so did 3 nationals in 2005. His best result was a 2nd overall. He went 2-2 at Glen Helen that year, finishing behind the national champion of that season, Grant Langston, who went 1-1. And then 2006, kind of a rough Supercross season. Didn't win his first race till Texas, I think, which was around 6 or 7. And that was on the West Coast. And he ended up finishing like 5th or something overall on the West Coast that year, but then went outdoors and not really, I wouldn't say just dominated, but he won 6 of the 12 outdoor rounds that year in the 250 or MX Lights class, whatever you want to call it. Won the title. That was his first professional title. Then 2007 went out and won the 2007 250 West Supercross Championship, or at that time it was the Supercross Lights West Championship. That was his first Supercross title, and 2007 was probably, for me, the most fun year to watch Villopoto, because he wasn't, that was the one year that I've seen him outdoors where he wasn't untouchable, and the reason why was because my favorite rider of all time, Ben Townley, was pretty much on par with Villopoto for the most part at a lot of rounds, not necessarily saying that Townley was better, because I don't think he was that year than Villopoto. He was damn good, but I think they're both pretty equal. And in the end, Villopoto did snatch that title at the last round, which I was at Glen Helen. Oh, side note, I did go to Villopoto's 3rd ever Pro National in 2005 at Glen Helen. I was there, watched him finish 2nd, as at that time his best ever finish in a national. And then I was there in 2007 when he and Townley raced to the finish. And that was definitely a really fun season in general to watch them compete. And then into 2008, he and Jesus Christ, that was a lot of lag. Sorry about that. 2008, he decided not to race the West Coast like he had the first 2 seasons and jumped ship to the East Coast, where he met a up-and-coming Trey Canard. And Trey Canard proved to be a little bit more challenging than I think Villopoto expected. to get that title, and it ended up not going his way at the end. Kennard very famously put Villopoto wide in the final turn before a finish line at the last round, and it was halfway or so through the race. It wasn't at the end or anything, but he pushed Villopoto wide and went on to win the race and the championship. Villopoto crashed off the side of the jump and ran over a track worker. It's a very famous moment in Villopoto's career, but yeah, he did not win that title. That was the first time also that we saw him run the number 2, I'm pretty sure. In 2006, 2007, and 2008, since we're right in the middle of this discussion, were all seasons that Villopoto went and represented the United States at the Motocross to Nations in the MX2 class, or the 250 class, and all 3 times helped USA to victory, and of course, famously so in 2007 at Budds Creek, where he outright won the second race, which was MX2, MX3, and won it on a 250, which was the first time I'm pretty sure that it had ever been done. I think Cairoli went and did it later on a 250. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that that's a marked performance in Villopoto's career that people mention a lot. So then we'll move into 2009 after all of this, because he ended up winning the 2008 Outdoor Championship fairly easily. I think he won 9 of the 12 rounds in the 250 class that year, and then graduated to the 450 class, where, of course, expected to make a big splash. And he also replaced the outgoing James Stewart at Team Kawasaki. Stewart left Kawasaki at the end of 2008, went to San Manuel Yamaha to replace Chad Reed. Reed had moved to Suzuki. I'm sure any Moto fans remember how that season went down. Stewie and Reed pretty much hated each other. Villopoto was kind of a non-factor for most of the season. He was expected to do really well coming in, but he got kind of sick. Missed some rounds, came back, and eventually won his first ever 450 Supercross at Seattle, and then won the next week at Vegas. Of course, that title came down to the end between Reed and Stu. Stu won the championship that year. Reed pushed him off the track at Vegas. You probably remember that, and Villopoto actually won that race. So that was 2009 Supercross. Tough season for Villopoto, but he did win 2 races that year. And then 2009 Outdoors, he went out and he won the opening round at Glen Helen, and then the next week injured his knee, if I'm not mistaken, at Hangtown, and that was pretty much the end of his season. Didn't race anything after that. Showed utter brilliance at Glen Helen by winning that one. But then after that, didn't have anything else for the rest of the season. And then comes back in 2010, looking a little bit more fit, looking pretty much ready to go. And rookie in the 450 class, Ryan Dungey, steps in, nearly wins the first round against Stewart, and then goes on to win the second round at Phoenix when Stewart gets hurt, cross-jumping the pack in a heat race. So Dungey went on to win that race, and then Villopoto finished second in that race. And from then on out, it was pretty much him versus Dungey for a majority of that season. They're kind of trading wins. Villopoto would be really fast at some rounds, Dungey really fast at the others. Dungey was definitely on it that year. Villopoto was as well. I'm sure Villopoto probably thinks that maybe he was a little bit off of his normal pace that we would see in the future, but Dungey definitely had a good setup that year and had things clicking for him. And the title fight was really starting to heat up. And at St. Louis, which I think was the 12th round of that season, there was a really good battle about to happen where Dungey was leading the race. He got into some lappers. Villopoto caught him, and then Villopoto cut down on a corner, sliced to the inside, and just pretty much cleaned Dungey. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it took both of them down. I mean, that's how aggressive the pass was. And they both got up. Villopoto got up first, and he started to try to pull away. And I'd remember from that round that earlier in the day, Reed, who was Villopoto's teammate that season on Monster Energy Kawasaki team, had just come back from injury. He'd broken his hand in a crash that he had with Stewart at round 2. Just had come back from injury, and there was all this talk about him being kind of a wuss because he was complaining about this triple out at the end of the first rhythm section that was kind of sketchy. It was like this really... right at the end of the rhythm section was this really, really tall landing jump, and Reed was like, "Yeah, I don't know about that." And apparently, from what I've heard, he asked track crews to change it, lower it, whatever. Well, lo and behold, about 2-3 laps, I believe it was, after Villopoto passed Dungey, looks like everything's clicking, cruising along, and suddenly, wham, just, came. I think what the story was is that he misjudged his timing because there's a lap rider on the right side of the track. Misjudged his timing, ejected out of the front of the bike, and that was, I think, what he calls probably one of the worst injuries of his career. Not 100% sure on whether he classifies tearing his ACL in 2012 as being as bad or what. But yeah, 2010 was pretty much the end of it in a nutshell. He crashed out viciously. I think he broke his leg in 3 spots or something like that, ejecting through the front of the bike, just plowed into the ground, was laying there, carted off. Dungey went on to win the race, and of course eventually the championship, the first of Dungey's career. But that was the end of the season. Villopoto couldn't contest the outdoors. Dungey went on to win the outdoors that season. And yeah, it was kind of just a bummer all around because Villopoto looked like he was starting to get his mojo going. And yeah, so he hadn't represented the United States since 2008 in the Des Nations. Didn't do it in 2009 with the knee injury. Didn't do it in 2010 with the leg injury. So he comes back 2011, looks fired up. Goes out, wins the opening Supercross race of the season, and pretty much from then on, it was never really looked back after that. Stewart had kind of a rough season. Well, I wouldn't say that Villopoto never looked back. There was a lot of competition. Trey Kennard, a rookie that season, being one of them. Dungey won a couple races. Reed got in there with his new 2-2 Motorsports program, won a couple races. And then, of course, Stewart was really good. He won several races that year. And it was one of the better Supercross seasons of recent memory in 2011. Came down to the wire, actually. Villopoto did win that, the first 450 Supercross championship of his career in 2011. Little would anybody know what that was about to start. But then Villopoto went outdoors that season, battled tooth and nail with Reed, Dungey, and himself, all 3 of them together. A really good season. A lot of people credit that season as Dungey would have won the title, had few mechanical issues not presented themselves to Dungey, but Villopoto did win the title that year in 2011, and in the end I think it was 11 points or something like that over Dungey. And then Reed famously that year, the catapult at Millville, kind of took him out of contention. But that was Villopoto's first 450 outdoor national championship, so he coupled it with his 3 outdoor championships from 250s and his first Supercross championship coupled with his only 250 West regional championship in 2007. He'd now won officially 5 AMA championships because the regional one didn't count for like an official official American Motocross Association championship or whatever you want to call it, but 6 total at that point. And then that year was the last time that we'd ever see Ryan Villopoto at the Motocross of Nations, as he went out, won the second moto that he raced, but the 3rd moto overall, the MX1, MX3 race. Led him and Dungey 1-2 finish over the line as they crossed the line, fist raised as the USA won that race, famously, as France had some issues, Porcel, yada yada. 2012 comes around, Villopoto determines, comes out, wins several races. I think he won 8 or 9 Supercross races that season. Looked really good, and Dungey was hurt that year. Stu had some contract disputes with Joe Gibbs Racing, and it was just kind of a strange year where nobody really challenged. Reed was on it that year, but remember, he crashed heavily at Dallas, which was round 7, and tore some stuff up in his knee and missed the rest of the season. So Villopoto kind of ended up cruising to the championship. I think he wrapped it up one of the earliest in history at like round 13 in Houston or something like that. Won his 2nd championship, and things were going well. They're clicking for Villopoto again, and wham, Seattle comes around, his home race. He starts off, he has a terrible start. Starts off in about like 15th or something place, and then he's trying to make some passes on the first lap, loses the front end in a kind of U-turn thing, and there goes his ACL. Tore his ACL right there. I think he tore his MCL too or something like that. That was the end of 2012 for Villopoto. Didn't race anymore after that, except he came back and, he won the Monster Cup, of course, 2011. a great year all around for Villopoto. His first championship in Supercross, first outdoor championship, Motocross of Nations champion, and then wins $1 million in Vegas at the Monster Cup. And then he comes back 2012 at the Monster Cup. And what happened 2012 at the Monster Cup? That was the year that, well, Villopoto won, but he didn't win all 3 events. I don't know. I don't remember exactly everything that happened at the Monster Cup. However, we're going to 2013 now. Villopoto comes out in 2013, and he did not win the first race of the season. Davey Millsaps did. Villopoto crashed at the opening round. But then after that, in 16 rounds, in the 16 rounds following that, Villopoto won 10 of them to win his 3rd consecutive Supercross championship in the 450 class. And then went outdoors and slayed again. I'm pretty sure he won 9 of the 12 overalls outdoors to claim his 2nd outdoor championship, the 2nd of 2 outdoor championships that he won on the 450, to add to his 3 consecutive 250 outdoor championships. And then, controversially, he decided not to race the Motocross of Nations that year, but did end up going to Monster Cup and then crashed out heavily while battling with James Stewart for the lead that year. Would be fine, though. He came back and eventually raced at the start of the 2014 season, and that's when Roczen won the opening round, but then Villopoto kind of took control of the series after that. Dungey was in there a couple times, but yeah, Roczen was pretty much the closest challenger to Villopoto for the most part of the season until Roczen started fading a little bit at the end and ended up 3rd in the standings behind Dungey. But Villopoto wins his 4th consecutive Supercross championship, the first person to do that since Jeremy McGrath, and only the 2nd person ever to do that in the history of the sport. And then he kind of played with the media, said he was going to race outdoors, eventually took the outdoors off to fix a nagging knee injury, I'm pretty sure. And then surprised pretty much everybody, although it was kind of heard of coming about, and elected to go race the GP championships for 2015. And so ended his career in the United States, having won 2 450 outdoor championships, 3 250 outdoor championships, a regional Supercross championship, and 4 consecutive AMA Supercross championships. He would not go for the 5-peat as he retired from professional Supercross at the beginning of 2015, and went out, raced 3 MXGPs competitively, finished, I believe, 7th or 8th at Qatar, won the 2nd round at Thailand, and then finished 4th at Argentina. Then Arco de Trento comes around. Famously, Villopoto loops out in the 2nd moto, or was it the first one? He was battling with Clement de Salle for 3rd, loops out, breaks his tailbone in several places, and as Villopoto announced today, on July 9th, 2015, he has now officially called it a career that lasted from 2005, late 2005, not sure the official date, but his first national was Broome Tioga in 2005, which was the 10th round of the season that year. And it is now officially over today, July 9th, 2015. Villopoto says he has no regrets, but he is filled with a bit of sadness in announcing that his career is over. He says that he is still suffering from a great deal of pain from his tailbone incident. It was originally thought that he was going to be able to come back fairly quickly from it, but then he went back, got more x-rays, realized there was some actual compression fractures in his lower back that'll take some more time to heal. But, of course, no real timetable is needed anymore since we will not see Villopoto racing anymore. And definitely one hell of a career, and something that really hope you guys will comment back and share maybe your favorite Ryan Villopoto memories. I know some of mine are probably when I went to his 3rd ever national in 2005 at Glen Helen, and he finished 2nd to Langston that day, but he was railing around that track. Really cool to see. Knew that he would be something special in the future, as did several people, I'm sure. And another special memento that I'll probably remember is that I went to his last ever Supercross race that he'll, I assume, ever do, and that was the 2004 yeah, 2014 Las Vegas Supercross, a race that he won. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure he won that race. Maybe somebody else, but definitely was his last Supercross. And couldn't be happier to say that I literally witnessed front to back Ryan Villopoto's career unfold for my eyes. Something I can't really say about some riders. Jeremy McGrath is one that comes to mind because I was not yet born when he turned pro. But definitely one of the cooler riders to watch ride. Had some amazing talents on a dirt bike, and will definitely be remembered for those talents that he possessed. And as, of course, being one of the winningest riders of all time, didn't mention his stats on winning, but Villopoto did win 41 450 Supercross races in his career, which puts him 5th all-time behind only Chad Reed, James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, and, of course, the king of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath. Can't quite remember his official statistics for outdoors, but I know that he ended up with a total of 52, if I'm not mistaken, 450 wins. So he won 11 outdoor nationals on a 450, which seems kind of crazy knowing his talents that he possessed on a 250. They'd only won 11 overalls outdoors. Pretty incredible statistic, but 52 combined AMA 450 wins puts him, I believe, 4th all-time on the 450 wins list. And then he has, I think, 73 total AMA wins, which also I'm pretty sure puts him 4th all-time. So one hell of a career that we see come to an end today. I'm going to finish up this final lap again, running the number 207, which was the number that Villopoto started his career with in 2005, that he ran for those 3 nationals that he ended the season in the 250 class after Loretta Lynn's. And, of course, Villopoto remembered his amateur career. He came up pretty much living in the shadow of Mike Alessi, but Mike Alessi kind of, you can say, has done a lot of living in the shadow of Ryan Villopoto ever since then, because Villopoto definitely one of the more dominant and well-known riders of the last 10 years, and his pretty much 10-year complete career is now over. I'm pretty sure that, like he said, he's not going to have any regrets, and he really shouldn't. It was a hell of a career. He's listed as having 9 AMA national titles and 1 regional Supercross championship. That's a hell of a career, and like I said, wins list, he's ranked up there in the top 5 all-time pretty much throughout. He is one of the few American riders ever to be able to say that he's won national titles in the United States and has won an MXGP race. So that's pretty cool for him. And yeah, like I said, I'm just happy that I got to witness his career firsthand on many occasions, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will feel the same way. So yeah, if you like this video, please let me know. Just filling you guys in on the update on Ryan Villopoto, and of course a little small update on the channel there at the beginning. But Ryan Villopoto officially calls it a career, and what a hell of a career it was. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us your favorite Ryan Villopoto memory, and we'll be sure to read those and see what you guys have to say. But yeah, for Kellen, I'm signing out. Congratulations, Ryan Villopoto, on one hell of a career.